Well, we're coming to your city. Gonna play our guitars and sing you a country song. We'll all be flying higher than a jetliner. And if you want a little bang in your yin yang, come along.
Well, welcome to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Monday. Indiana Sports Beat, of course, brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda Bloomington. Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. It's Monday. Charlie Miller will be joining us today. We'll be talking to Don Fischer soon. Lots to get to as the basketball season winding down. Plenty of other things going on. The Indiana women's basketball season is not. Ms. Mackenzie Holmes, player of the week for them as they roll into the Big Ten tournament. #2 seed in that and ranked 10th in the country. So congratulations to them. The Big Ten men's tournament starts this week as well. So we'll be in Indianapolis to see how that transpires. We'll talk to Don Fischer here in a little bit as he prepares, I guess, for tonight's coaches show, which I think returns to tonight. Which is normally the night that it's on. Plenty of action over the weekend that we're going to get to. Some great games. How about Michigan State upending Michigan yesterday? They needed that game desperately to get into the tournament, and that is going to put them in. That's a team that had struggled mightily, but had kind of gotten it together at the end of the year. They were playing. They had something to play for, and they played for it. They went out and did it. Congratulations to Aaron Henry, the Indianapolis product, who's kind of at the forefront of that. So congratulations to him. Lots of games over the weekend that I enjoyed watching. The weather is nice. People are getting out. That was great to see. I hope everyone had a great weekend. But, man, it was just Michigan State, like I said, Baylor. They get a big win over Texas Tech, 88-73. Iowa beats Wisconsin. Wisconsin, man, they are 10-10 in the Big Ten now. 10-10. So I don't want to get too deep into this because Don will join us here shortly. But, man, they've just fallen like a rock. They may have lost like 5 straight. They're 16-11 over. I mean, there are no problems of making the tournament and whatnot, but that was a team that early on had had high hopes. Houston, what a game that was. Memphis, as Houston escaped 67-64. Texas with a win over TCU, 76-74. Let's see. I don't see anything else of note. Northwestern barely escaped. Oh, my God. Nebraska almost got a win on the road. Holy cow. I don't know how they lost that game to Northwestern, but that was a battle of the knots that went down. It was appropriately a fight, so but Northwestern gets that win. Penn State and Maryland. Penn State knocks off Maryland. Not going to help Penn State. I don't know how much that's going to hurt Maryland. They're 9-11 in the Big Ten, 15-12 overall. They're squarely in the tournament. That's not a loss that they wanted to get yesterday, though. That's not one you want right before the tournament seeding comes out, even though I think that they're fine. But they're down there. So that's about that on yesterday's game. So Don Fischer will be joining us here shortly. We'll be talking about what he's got coming up this week. And Charlie Miller, of course, joins us today as well. And I make sure, Trevor, did you send Charlie the link? And Jim Reamer is going to join us today, too. We're going to talk about all the sectional action over the weekend. Man, some great games on the high school side of things as the high school tournament well underway and in play. And it's going to be odd this year. They're going to have that week break in between the semi-states and the state championships. That's kind of a weird thing. But looks like Don Fischer. Trevor, is he with us now?
He's with us.
Hey, Don, how are you, sir?
I'm all right, Jim. How are you?
Cannot complain. The weather's getting warmer, and I know we're getting closer to one of your favorite times of the year, able to get out. You probably are. Have you been out on the golf course yet?
No, I have not played outside, hit a ball outside yet, so I still haven't been out, but I'm getting close.
I went to Dick's Sporting Goods, and they have those simulators in there, and I hit about 9 balls, and I just put the club down and said, wow, that's going to hurt. So, but I'm not looking forward to it. But just happy to see the warm weather and all that, everyone getting out, people lines in restaurants. That's fun to see. But, of course, the springtime usually means tournament basketball, and we've got the tournament in the men's high school side, and, of course, all the men's and the women's Big Ten tournaments coming up. Women's doing great. Mackenzie Holmes, player of the week, their top 10, so congratulations to them. And, of course, the men go into the tournament this week facing a Rutgers team on Thursday that's going to be kind of difficult.
Well, no question about that. Indiana kind of finishes the regular season with a whimper. 5 straight losses. They fall to their arch rival Purdue on Saturday, 67-58. They have played better defensively the last couple of ball games, maybe even the last 3, maybe even the last, well, I'd say 3. But honestly, this team right now, everything is about offense and about the inability to score enough points to win ball games, especially their outside shooting, which has just been, I don't want to say atrocious, but it's close. When you shoot 7 of 43 in your last 2 ball games from the 3-point line, you know you've got some problems, and it's been an ongoing issue. Of course, Armand Franklin's been out for some time now. He is the best 3-point shooter on this ball club from a consistency standpoint. He literally is at 45% on the season, which tells you he ought to be shooting all the threes at this point, but he's not available. And Armand's absence has really hurt this ball club pretty dramatically, in my opinion. And even after he's suffered that ankle injury, sat out a while, then came back after a couple of ball games and tried to play on it, he was never quite the same as he was earlier in the year, but he was still capable of knocking down 3-point shots a lot better than some of the rest of the players on this team. I don't know what the issue is in that regard. I know this. I watch them practice. I watch them warm up before ball games. They knock down threes consistently. When they get in the ball game, things change. Whether it's just the defensive pressure that other teams put on them, whether they're just not ready to shoot, or whether it's just confidence, the belief that you can make them. And I think that probably has more to do with it than anything else right now for this ball club. It's a team, I think, that is low in its mentality in regard to the confidence level that they have to play with. I think the defense who played the last 2 ball games has been much improved with a much more combative and fierce type of effort. But when you're not knocking down shots, it makes everything more difficult. And unfortunately, right now, this team is in a funk that they haven't been able to get out of. And now they're going to be on the precipice of playing their last game of the season because it's a one-and-done scenario in the Big Ten tournament. And you're facing a team that's already beaten you twice. And the last time you played them, you probably kind of gave it up in the second half. That's got to change. And if this team has any hope of making any kind of a run in the Big Ten tournament, it's going to have to be a complete mental change from a confidence perspective.
Charlie Miller joins us. Charlie, you heard what Don had to say.
Yeah, Don, I want to commend Don. I actually listened to the game earlier this week, and Don just keeps his poise. And I just want to commend you, Don, for keeping poise, man. Because I get it. And what Don said to me is just right on time. It just seems like, again, because I'm not in the locker room, Don is at practice way more than I think anybody at this point on this call, but it just seems like confidence is rocked. It just seems like the mental fortitude to take that shot, the next shot, the best shot, it's just not there. And I think it leads to lows. It just leads to like scoring droughts, and I think just puts insurmountable pressure on you. Late shot clock opportunities, the ball doesn't go in a hole. Now you got to go down for defense, and that's just kind of what I see as I share my observation.
I think you're right, Charlie, and you know as well as I do when your shot's not falling. It's a big mental factor for your team, and not just for your team, but for yourself. And if you can't find a way, shooters. I've always thought that shooters are shooters, and you can't worry about missing the last shot. You keep shooting until you start making them, and
Right.
not that you take shots out of the offensive scenario or that kind of thing, but you continue to shoot when you have an open look and a good open look, because you can't have that kind of a mental lapse in the sense of confidence. And honestly, this team hasn't got anybody right now that looks like they feel confident about shooting the basketball. And I don't know. I'm not a coach. I'm not in the locker room most of the time. Haven't been there this year at all because obviously of COVID. We've not been allowed to be a part of that. But this team has struggled all season long when the games are on the line to make shots and to even take a good look, or to even make it look like it was a good look when they have good looks. I mean, some of the shots don't even hit the backboard, and occasionally they hit the backboard and knock the rim, and others are air balls. And some of your best shooters, Al Durham has those air ball tendencies. So does Rob Finney. I mean, it's just been an amazing scenario of negativity. And honestly, the only people that can get you out of that are the players themselves. They're the only guys that can change that. And I don't know how you do it any other way.
Yeah. I want to share one more thing with you guys and just get your take on it. But just, and again, I'm listening to Archie Miller's pressers. I know he's pumping confidence into the players. And Don, I think you just said it best. To me, again, you got to continue to shoot. And now that then boards the question. And again, I'm a fan. I'm observing. I'm not there. There just seems as if there's no identity on the court. As far as again, late shot clock throw-ups. And the only word I can think of that just like have no chances whatsoever. And it's just look at there's like a lack of identity on who's going to take those shots and when you take those shots.
I think that's right, Charlie. I mean, and again, I mean, if you talk to somebody about this basketball team who's watched them play, and you said, "All right, who would you be comfortable with, or who do you think is comfortable taking the next shot?" You can't find anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, even Trace here of late has struggled to make shots down inside. And that's been ongoing for about 7 ball games now. I've seen him miss shots that normally he makes on a consistent basis. I think it's transcended into everybody's and everybody's belief at this point about being. And here's the other thing: if you're going through a slump like that, you have to be smart about it. You cannot just throw up things and hope they go in, because there's no game that is harder to hope something happens than basketball, because there's somebody out there that's going to knock you off your pedestal very quickly. You can't hope to make shots. You've got to believe that you can make them, and you've got to play with that kind of confidence. And this team isn't doing that right now. Yeah. And that, to me, is a part of the leadership issue that I think I've expressed to you guys before. I don't know if you've heard this, Charlie, but I just always question who the real leader of this basketball team is. Is there a guy out there that can take you, grab you by the jersey, and tell you to get your act together? And I have not seen that, and I don't know that this team has that guy.
And I agree with you, Don, but one thing I do want to absolutely mention is about Race Thompson and the toughness that dude has shown this year. I mean, man, oh man, he comes every day, and it doesn't matter what they try to do to him. He comes back, and he's really just given an effort beyond what you can ask for this year. He's really just been there every day for them, and really just want to salute him for the effort that he's given throughout this season.
No doubt. And that also highlights the absence of Joey Brunk, in my opinion, because when Race or Trace gets into foul trouble, or they're injured, or they can't play for a few plays, who do you put in there? You put in Jordan Geronimo. Well, that's great, because Jordan is a good freshman. He's 6'6", though. He's 6'6", and definitely he's got a good body to him, so it's not like you could just shove him around, but he's so inexperienced that the only guy that comes into the ball game that you can put in there in that post position or in the power forward position is a Jordan Geronimo, and he's going to make enough mistakes that it's going to cost you a little bit. But so Joey Brunk's absence this year, to me, has been a tremendous, tremendous negative for this basketball team, because Joey started every game a year ago. He's not a superstar athlete, but he's a big physical presence out there that can get you baskets inside, and he can bang inside with the big boys and make things a lot easier for the rest of the team. I think his absence this year has probably been as big a factor for this basketball team as any, and I give Race just as much credit as everybody else because Race has battled through injuries, and he's shown that he's a tough kid, and he will bang with the big boys inside, guys that are 2 or 3 inches, 4 inches bigger than he. And, of course, in some cases, 8 inches bigger than he, like Zach Edey from Purdue. It's just, and that's the other thing. I don't think the freshmen have progressed like we had hoped. I don't think they've developed like we would have hoped. But those guys are also dealing with that confidence thing about shooting the basketball. And honestly, how do you deal with that? You've got to be able to. You've got to go out there with a confidence level. And I don't know how you gain that after you haven't had it. And my question is, how will they deal with it in the off season? Because that's going to be, I think, one of the critical things for this ball club. You're going to have to get your mentality and your confidence back, and that's going to be a tough thing to do.
Absolutely, Don. I know you're back. I think, are you guys back to the regular schedule tonight with the coaches show?
Yeah, we will be on at 7:05 tonight. Final coaches show of the year. Archie Miller will join us. We'll be interested to hear his thoughts on what he thinks about his basketball team going into the Big Ten tournament. I know that it's kind of, when you go into a tournament like this where it's a one-and-done thing, I think everybody feels like it's a new chance to show people. And honestly, I hope that's the mentality that this team goes in with, because if they don't, it's going to be a one-and-done in the Big Ten tournament, and this season will be history.
Absolutely. And then, of course, the game on Thursday, the men open up Big Ten tournament play at 6:30 against Rutgers in Indianapolis. So looking forward to that. That's going to be a unique setting as well, Don.
It will be. There's no question. Playing in Lucas Oil Stadium will be different for all of these teams because I don't think anybody has played in a venue like that this year. It's cavernous. It's different. It's a different feel. The sidelines are different. It'll be interesting to see how all of these teams fare in this facility. And, of course, they'll be fine after they play their first ball game because they'll get used to it. But the first time out, it could be a different experience for all of these kids.
Earth's absolutely looking forward to it, Don. I cannot thank you enough, brother. I'll see you soon.
Yep, thanks for having me, guys. Appreciate it.
Awesome, Don.
You bet. The great Don Fischer joining us here on Indiana Sports Beat as he does each and every week. Looking forward to that, and looking forward to talking to Charlie when we come back. You're listening to Indiana Sports Beat from the Golf Club Eagle Point Studios on this Monday, brought to you by Andy Moore Honda Bloomington. We'll be back right after this.
Hey, we all want more, and no one gives you more for less than Andy Moore Honda Bloomington.
What's up, Charlie?
I'm doing well, man. How you guys doing?
Cannot complain, man. Can't
Good,
complain.
Good.
Getting closer to getting vaccinated.
Yeah, it's good stuff. Good stuff.
Just days getting better.
What's the weather like in old Bloomington?
Upper 50s.
Not bad.
May hit 60 today.
Okay. That's some
The
good
big
golf
question
weather right there.
You know what? I could have played yesterday if I hadn't been busy, but
I hear that.
yeah, I guess everybody wants to talk about Archie Miller, and I'm like, there's nothing to talk about really. I don't know what they're going to do.
Yeah.
It's there's so many. I don't go on Facebook because all
Right.
those man.
Right.
It's
I can only imagine.
those
I couldn't
guys.
I couldn't even imagine having Facebook back in the 90s or social media.
Yeah,
Hey,
those.
I used to get harassed landline. How do you get my phone number? How do you get my phone number and leave me voicemail?
Oh my God, that's
I got a great
hilarious!
story to talk about. I want to save it, but
Oh my
but
God, it's
I mean,
hilarious.
it was because this dude ended up becoming an ally. Like it's an interesting call, but like I can't even imagine like to say, you know, I hear all the time, oh, we don't watch that stuff. We don't look at social media. How can you not? It's in your face 24/7.
Well, they're on it all the time. Like I don't even go on Facebook just because it's so crazy. Those people are nuts. But
so it's a different climate. This is a whole like even that's why I said like I can only give observations because to be in this climate as a player it's just different because of all the dynamics and all the moving pieces. and all the social media and how you interact with people. And that's why mental fortitude has to be a priority.
Boy, here's one I can't wait to talk about. Justin Smith named second team All-SEC by USA Today Sports. The Razorbacks are 19-1 with Smith healthy enough to play at least 20 minutes. He had a great year for them. They're ranked to going to the tournament. If you're not familiar, Justin Smith was viewed as a cancer by a lot of people here, thought he was a problem.
Right.
But I just don't think people like playing for Archie Miller personally, but
yeah. I mean, in personnel, man. I mean, like
experience that is
it's
waiting
personnel too. You know,
next
Yep.
to French Lick
it's
West.
fit personnel. You just never know.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
People dancing all in the street. See the rhythm all in the...
well, welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Little Lionel there. I saw him on American Idol last night.
Yeah.
And it never goes out of style, man. Lionel never goes out of style. He's got that smooth, smooth voice, man. He does. And he looks like he did 30, 40 years ago.
Yeah. Come on. Let's not go there, man. Come on, man. You're not, look, you know, he probably lives in Atlanta, and you know, who never knows what the stuff they're taking. I'm not saying it's a problem, but
I want some of it, man. Dude looks like he has been just golly. Looks and
that's
sounds.
too much maintenance. That's too much maintenance. That looks like a 3-hour process every day. That's too much going on. Age gracefully, man.
I talked about earlier some games yesterday. Michigan State. Let's talk about Michigan State knocking off Michigan. Man, they needed that. They had to have that, I think, to get into the tournament because they were right there on the bubble. But if they lose that game, it's a second straight, and then you go into the Big Ten tournament. If they were to lose there, it might have knocked them out. Winning that game, they're in. Boom. Yeah. Michigan State is in.
Something interesting. I mean, again, just for me, insight. Something interesting. When they played them several weeks ago, you know, I believe Coach Jawan Howard, showed some footage of Draymond Green, you know, hyping up Michigan State at the end of losing. So then who knows if that was psyche, right? Again, because sometimes you just need identity. You need something, locker room material. And again, they've been playing exceptionally well over the last month and a half. So you just never know. And I feel that is a game that kind of solidified them going to the NCAA tournament. Michigan State.
Yeah, absolutely. And looking forward to the tournament starting. How fun is the Big Ten tournament itself?
You know, the first year of the Big Ten tournament was my junior year. And we played at, I believe at the time, it was Chicago Stadium. And it was new to us because if you remember, there was no tournament whatsoever. It was just you played the season up until my sophomore year or junior year. And then they introduced a tournament. So I had 2 years of experience of that, but I'm more than certain. I mean, the things around the tournament has grown tremendously.
Yeah, and it's grows in stature, but now it's also something that teams that maybe not have solidified their seed line or
here's another resume opportunity. Yeah,
Michigan State, they're playing well. They can get a seed line maybe just by playing well in the tournament because they're coming off of a gigantic win, and you propel off of that. Just two wins in that tournament, man. That could move them up 2 seed lines.
Well, there you go.
Top of the Michigan thing.
Yeah, you can go from like a 10 to like a 7, 6, 7. I mean, that's a big difference. And again, a coach like Izzo, Coach Izzo and his staff. I mean, he's always been a great postseason coach. So you just never know.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the Big Ten tournament and the Big 12 tournament. I'm looking forward to both of them just because these have just been watching these two conferences this year has just been a blast. I've talked about it all year.
Right.
Not that there's not teams out there. There's teams out there that are going to come into the party, whether it's Houston or Alabama,
Right.
Gonzaga.
Right.
But I'm just interested to see these, because these two conferences have just battle tested each other.
That's right.
Just battle tested time all year long. So it's going to be interesting to see how that has helped them, and we'll find out with this unique tournament situation that's coming up. So
That's right.
looking forward to it. Now, Michigan, they take an L going into the Big Ten tournament, which tells me they're going to win the Big Ten tournament.
Well, and think about it, how, they came in guns blazing after the COVID protocols from the state, right? And it might be a little low, people got a chance to scout them again, look at their strengths and weaknesses, who knows, right? So you lose an in-state rivalry game, which again, I would have to believe that Coach Howard's going to have those guys ready to play. Looking forward to, looking to run the tables in the tournament and to get them a high seed as I feel they're going to be projected anyway. So yeah, I think the Big 12 and the Big 10 this year it's been a men's league, right? I mean, it's been, you got to bring it every single night and for all 40 minutes of that game. So it is interesting coming up.
And, the SEC, I think the Big 12 is going to get 7 teams in, which that's 70% of their conference. Right. That's pretty good. Right. The SEC, I believe, is going to get 6 teams in. Of course, their bottom, those are not nearly as strong, but Alabama is. But one that definitely is worth talking about is, last year everyone talked about Justin Smith being a kind of a cancer on the Indiana team and being problematic, which he was. Somewhat. He did not. You could tell that he did not agree with Archie and Archie's philosophy. And there's 2 schools of thought. On one hand, you should say, well, it's your job. He's the coach. He's the general. So you just have to follow the marching orders. Transfer if you want, but while you're here, follow the marching orders. Not sure how well he did that, but also moving away from here, though. He turns out to be the key player for Arkansas. They're ranked in the top 20, something he never saw in Indiana under Archie Miller. He's going to play in the NCAA tournament, something he never would have seen under Archie Miller. And we see what he's helped this Arkansas team become. So I don't think that calling him a cancer on that team last year is really fair. I've talked about this a lot. That's something I guess maybe a later conversation, but he's having a lot of success in a different program. So it kind of really puts to bed any argument people would like to have otherwise.
Well, I mean, again, to me, you just never know, man. I mean, because guess what? What if again, he's having it. So we have to go state the facts, but what if he goes to Arkansas, he's an average player? This is not even brought up, right? And I totally understand why the spotlight is on Coach Miller, because you get a player that leaves the program that then shines somewhere else. Totally understand that. Again, just sharing, being, personnel, whatever they were clashing on. Was it philosophy of play? The way Justin wanted to play and Archie was saying no. Who knows, right? You go somewhere else. Is it development? I beg the difference, development, because I don't feel in 4 or 5 months someone's going to get that much better. Not saying it's impossible, but it just might be situation change. It might be, Justin was looking forward to a fresh start. You just never know. But it just puts more spotlight on, obviously, the situation that Coach Miller's going through, not having producing winning seasons, not having players that can capably help win consistently. You get someone who transfers and have success, one begs the question. I totally understand that question.
Here's a great comment from Jesse. Charlie, what did you say to Michael Lewis to calm him down when he was having those outbursts with Coach Knight?
Hey, seriously. Hey, I remember one, like, I forget the game because we all laughed about it at the end. But it was, and sometimes it's like captioned on ESPN. but it's not highlighted, which is a good thing. But literally, it was the situation where Coach Knight was going back and forth with Mike Lewis, and Mike was right. Mike was right. And I was on the bench, and literally what I did, Jim, was I walked up to Mike and I grabbed him by the neck and I said, "Not now, man. Not now." And then Coach Knight acknowledged after the game, Mike was right, because Mike did have the right read, right? And on the defense assignment, he said it was a laughter. We won the game, and it was a laughter. But literally, I remember having one of those. It was like one of those like mediators, man. I went right at Mike, man. Hey, leave it alone, man. Leave it alone. But I literally grabbed him. I grabbed him around the neck, man. So we all had that little temperament, man, from Coach Knight. Man, we all had the little Knightism in us, man.
Culture.
Yeah. Well, identity, but I'm not. Let's not go too far into that. I'm just sharing. Again, as a player development coach who has an opportunity to train players, you have to establish an identity. I mean, you're going to have days like this. You're going to have games like this. You have seasons, bad seasons. But you got to establish identity. And when I watch us play, we just look drained. It's just we have hot starts. We have hot starts, but then we just kind of fizzle. Who knows? I don't know why. But I'm just sharing my observation.
Let's see. Joey Green put up some stats or turnover stats that I have not read through. So turnovers in 2017, 17%, 8th in the conference. Then we're 7th in the conference, 13th and 8th. So they turn the ball consistently, pretty much. That's a problem. There's a problem, and there's no improvement there.
I'm gonna go back to this, Jim, and I said this when I first started. I joined the show. And again, just sharing. There's a program called Synergy. I think I look at Synergy as a player development coach. I have the opportunity to look at that, and I look at play types. I look at playing. It might be statistics, who knows, or analytics. But we are a very good late shot clock team. Doesn't mean much, but we are very good.
They're very practiced at it.
What does that mean the majority of the times? You are shooting shots that are desperate. A lot of if you're not getting the ball inside for high percentages, you're shooting shots that are 4 seconds or less, and you're not going to make a lot of those, just in my opinion.
Well, that's been the complaint all year that I've noticed, that, and well, not just me, anybody, they take way too long to get into whatever offense that they're trying to run, and it lends itself to forced shots, which are rarely good, and but that's a problem that has never changed, and that's the issue. It's like, dude, you're the guy, change it, make them. I don't care what it takes, change it. Tell this player that if you don't do X, Y, and Z on this play, you're coming out. And it just to not see any change is what is so mind-boggling to the fans. It's driving them crazy. It drives me crazy, but it drives everyone crazy when the no change. It's like, dude, it's not working. Stop with this. But there's not. And there's personnel issues, and they're down right now with some injuries. But what's not talked about is they're also down because they've got 2 open scholarships because Archie couldn't fill those. So there's lots of facets to it. Missing Joy Brunk definitely hurting them right now. I don't know how much difference it would make in winning and losing, but man, oh man, I feel sorry for Geronimo's going to get some valuable minutes at least. That's a good benefit from him. And I've talked about this end of this season. The NIT was a conversation with Todd. I mean, he doesn't know if it's worth them going. And I'm like, well, the value I see is getting freshman minutes if Archie would do that. But he's shown such an unwillingness to change that it's like, dude, get something out of it. If you're going to go there, get something out of it for tomorrow. And I think he's too stubborn to do that. I think we would see no change. So I don't know if that's the case, then I don't see the point in going if they're not going to actually try to get something out of it.
Yeah. Again, this is a tough situation because, I mean, obviously used to a program like Indiana winning or having winning ways. And I joke with a good friend of mine who don't live too far outside of Bloomington. I was like, everyone born there was born with a pen and pad on how to run motion. So I'm like, it's difficult to watch. It's difficult to be around. I can only process that through his eyes, but at the same time, yeah, man, it's just you're in a tough position as a fan, and as a former player. I'm running that line straight, man, because it ain't about saying the wrong things. It's just, I can only imagine what's going on in that locker room. It just looks like they're all down. Just look like morale is just down.
It definitely is. Here's a question that you talked about social media. Forrest, do you believe that non-negativity on social media is affecting the players in recruiting? He does, of course. I don't, because if it is, then get your ass off of social media and don't focus on that, and focus like we talked about. Just get in the gym. Get in the gym and just put up shots. Put the phone down and get in the gym if that's an issue. Can it affect recruiting? Of course.
Not only that, and again, you have, it's the social media. I mean, again, I think I told you this, I'm not sure if it's ever coming out, but there was a publication that reached out to me and was asking me the difference between the culture now and the culture back when I was playing. And again, we just one big difference. You didn't have instant access to share whatever information. A lot of things always go on, and it's hard to say that you don't hear the father. It's hard to say. And it again, get in the gym, watch film. To me, the question, how much film are we watching? Not saying there's something that needs to be done, but are we watching film? Are we covering mistakes? Are we looking to improve on the things that may or not happen in a game or two? But I would have to say, to recruiting, think about this. I mean, that might incentivize you, because you may look at it like, man, I may have opportunity to come here and play and get some minutes.
Be the guy.
So I got some, so recruiting, if you're a top 20 guy, 5-star, okay, totally understand you have choices, but somebody else might see it and say, hey man, I might have an opportunity to come in and get some valuable minutes early as to what I see. Not saying that these guys can't play, but that to me is the recruiting angle that you have to put into your mind. If you are a senior or a prep guy coming to go to a school like Indiana, looking at personnel.
A lot of the guys that I talk to, former players, say the same thing. They want to be they think they can be the guy. Hey man, I'm the guy. That's why I'm coming here. I can play. I'm a player. They have confidence. So I agree with you. I just don't think it does, because mainly it's but oh well. Of course, there's different opinions on it, but let's see. Let's see. I'm trying to find something else to talk about on there. But anyway, as we continue to move forward, these guys have got to take a season worth of this, and now focus on a tournament, the Big Ten tournament. Then if there's an NIT tournament that they get to play in, those are different type of mentalities you have to go into. This is a one and done, dead deal, season over kind of thing. And what's the mentality like for them now? That's the question. What's the mentality like for them going into this? Are they just tired of this COVID season, of the horrible season it's been, of all the things that have been bad, or do they still have some fight in them? We'll have to see, I guess. But that's the question coming up.
Well, I'm gonna just tell you like this, okay? If I'm just hypothetical. Man, there's a total resurrection that has to happen mentally. Like literally, like, hey man, all the stuff that we did, non-conference, conference, that's totally gone. Like we can't bring that back up. We have to move forward. All hands on deck, all feet on deck. We gotta move forward. We gotta play. You're playing against a team that beat you twice. Right? I mean, there was a 20-point swing in the last time you played them. That's on Rutgers' mind as a player. I'm just sharing what's on their mind. Hey, they're gonna lay down. We put the gas We push the gas, they're gonna lay down. So you gotta have all those things, to me, psychologically, driving you every possession, man. Every freaking possession is going to have to matter. And you can't get into lulls where we're not attacking the basket, we're not hitting shots. I mean, so you got to look at this as a new season. It's a one and done.
Yeah, we got to take a quick break. Back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios with plenty more right after this. Let's see. What happened in the high school basketball season? Well, Jim Reamer's for that. Oh, let me make this call real quick. Oh, man, I'm getting my car worked on, and the daggone piece didn't come in. They've got my car. Now I got to go back and get it and not be fixed.
Understood.
Hate that. All right. We didn't get to talk about what you were going to talk about, though. What was that?
Yeah, we can bring it up. I appreciate it.
What was that?
Yeah, I was talking about social media and how I would get voicemails.
Oh,
That was
yeah.
social media.
That was
I
funny.
had a weird one going for 2 years.
Really?
Yeah, I tell you about it. Yeah, whenever we get back on, whenever, yeah. So.
Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington, where more means more. More selection, more savings.
Come see us at the all-new Andy Moore Honda, now in Bloomington.
This segment is brought to you by Bubba's 33 in Clarksville. Pizza, burgers, beer.
Welcome back here on this Monday to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios. Charlie Miller sitting in with me as always. Jim Coyle here. Hope you're enjoying your Monday. Going to get out. I think it's going to get warm up here, warm enough, man, to start forgetting about those winter blues, Charlie.
Yo, there you go.
We were talking earlier about social media and all that stuff, and you were talking off air about in the before day. I call it in the before times.
When there was no, I like it. I like it.
No, we didn't have all this stuff. But even then, players still got harassed, man.
Man. Hey, listen, so for 2 years, and this was and again, just kind of like a before time nostalgia. Rest in peace, Neil Reed, Andre Patterson. They were my roommates, and we lived about 10 minutes off campus south. So I would get phone calls at midnight, 2 o'clock in the morning. And there was this drunk guy always calling. And at first, like anything else, because he wouldn't say anything. He's just on the phone breathing, and then talking just liberated, just gone. And I'm like, okay, is this guy around here somewhere? Where is he? I kid you not. One day I said, man, enough's enough, man. Why do you call, man? What? Hey, what's your name? What's going on? And we end up having a whole conversation.
Well, how did the conversation go?
And I'm like, hey, are you drunk? Yeah, I'm drunk. He said, man, why you call me? They just like you don't have to do this. You don't have to do this. But now it's just going on and on and on. How much
did he say why he called you?
Huh? No, just calling, and who knows how I guess it's yellow pages, white pages, I don't know. He was just calling for 2 years. And I'm like, why? Just call, hang up. And then one day I said, man, enough's enough. And then we ended up having a conversation, and the call stopped after that day. I don't know why, but I kid you not.
That's funny.
So that's why I literally say I couldn't imagine having social media with the inboxes, right? Where they may have to block so many people, good or bad or indifferent, because we can always talk about the negative. What about the positive side? Because now, even on the positive side, as a player, you got to be mindful, because now you got to block people calling you, wanting you to do certain things or be certain places. So I couldn't. So it's. I mean, it's almost like you got to have a social media manager where you have to have classes on how to handle this stuff. Because it comes at you from all different angles now.
Yes, sir. As Indiana heads into the Big Ten tournament, Trace Jackson-Davis, of course, Charlie, is going to be a focal point. He has been all year long. But Brent throws up some interesting numbers here. In the last 2 games, he shot the ball 14 times. Rob Finney has shot it twice as much. That is a problem, especially when Rob Finney has had several over games. Right now, Trace Jackson's a guy you got to get the ball into, of course.
I want to talk about that.
That's a number there. That's a wow. That's an.
I want to talk about that.
Thank you for that number. That's wow. That's
I want to talk about that.
Crazy.
And let's talk about the game, the Purdue game. And here's where I felt I saw an opportunity. If there's ever a time to do ball screens, you do ball screens with Edie. You get them up with Trace, and you run Trace to the basket, right? If there's ever a time. Now, the 15 more shots I feel Rob is getting, again, late shot clock, and it's we couldn't work the ball, dribble handoff, ball screen, dribble handoff, ball screen. You couldn't work it inside. It's in Rob's hands, right? And I'm not faulting Rob. But to me, if you look at the game play, I don't feel those were like spot up, hands ready, shot ready player shots from Rob. They were more so into play, attacking, going downhill, nothing's available, kind of shots. And talking about, for me, I love it. Hey, talk about for me. I love that, man. I appreciate you for saying that.
It's funny.
Right? Hey, we probably all had our day back in the day, man. Look, we're all grown now. It is what it is. Let's have some fun with it today, man. But hey,
yeah.
So one of the things I want to talk about with TJD is I saw a lot of misses around the rim that, to me, probably would have been better off the backboard, man. That's a tough shot with momentum going against a 7-foot guy looking to go over, right at the rim versus putting it on the backboard. Now, it's just, again, my eyes is what I'm observing. But to me, again, going back to Rob, I think that's kind of a situation where 29 shots for Rob, 14 for TJD. I think that comes down to, again, that shot clock situation.
The national picture, man, with their teams this year. We talked about the Big 12 and the Big 10. You've got Gonzaga out there. Outside of that, I was just thinking. I'm not even looking at anything. The Alabamas. I don't see. I think that the SEC or the Big 10 and the Big 12 could easily put 2 teams in the Final Four. I know Gonzaga is good, but Man, they just don't play a very good schedule, which I don't know if that's going to help them with staying healthy and easier. It shouldn't, but we'll see. I mean, they only, to me, have to win 4 or 5 tough games, or everyone else. It's going to be interesting to see how they navigate through this. Baylor's gotten that loss. They know what that feels like. And they've played in a lot of close games too.
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that helps. You know better than anybody, playing in a lot of close games has to be an education for when you're in another close game.
Yeah. And again, I just share from just, someone who I have great respect for and watching over the years, Coach Mike Davis. I mean, that's his kind of MO. Wherever he goes, he'll play a non-conference schedule that's very tough. That's probably one of the toughest in the country to get his players ready. And I think that's what you want. You want to be conference ready. So that means a lot when you are playing tough games like that. And I think we had a good strength schedule. We had a good schedule, right? I mean, just you just on the other side of winning. Indiana.
Just on the other side of winning. That's never the thing that you want to see.
I'm doing my best at keeping it positive.
No, I like
hey,
that.
Look, here's something I tell players all the time. Sometimes we win, sometimes we learn, we never lose. We pay it forward. If we pay it forward.
A lot of tournament. Speaking of Gonzaga, they take on St. Mary's tonight. Other than that, I don't see anything really of note. As the tournaments have started, conference tournaments have started, so there's plenty of those. I mean, but these are all Elon and Hofstra, Milwaukee, Cleveland State. So the A-10s and the smaller conferences are rolling. The Big Ten tournament will start on Wednesday. ACC, does that one start a day earlier on Tuesday? They may have a couple more teams, I think, in that conference. But so everything gets started this week, man. It's going to be basketball central, man. We'll be up in Indianapolis, of course, on Thursday as Indiana takes on Rutgers at 6:30. And then after the game, we'll be coming to you from the Tap on Mass Ave, of course. So
hey, you mentioned Elon, okay? And I want to, again, give another shout out to another former basketball manager from Indiana, Mike Schrage. Mike Schrage, he graduated in 98 with me. He's the head coach at Elon.
Get out of here. Another one?
Yeah, Mike Schrage. Yeah.
How you spell his last name?
Again, so now, I mean, and I say this, and I say this with passion, as you say, I'm jumping. Yes, there's trying times. But I'm telling you, you'll be amazed at like where a lot of us end up going and doing and shaping basketball for life.
Yeah,
again, another former manager, Mike Schrage, was at Duke for a long time and was actually Coach Krzyzewski's right-hand man before he went to Stanford. And now he's a head coach at Elon. Okay, and I'm just always proud when I talk about Mike Schrage, when I talk about Dusty May, when I see Lawrence Frank, when I see guys who, may not have gotten a lot of credit because, again, who wants to rebound, right? Who wants to edit film? But a lot of those guys move on to do some amazing things, and sometimes we don't realize like where it came from. So I didn't know if you knew that about Mike Schrage.
I did not know that about him. I did the others, but that's why they keep coming up. I'm like, wow, we have got to get a list compiled of the managers from the Bob Knight era that have what on, because it's not just coaches like I've talked about before. There's NBA executives.
You got guys.
Yeah. Man, it's just mind-boggling. It really is.
You got Ryan Carr with the Pacers. Ryan Carr, former manager with the Pacers. I mean, you got guys, I mean, that's gone on. And again, not being nostalgia, but this to me, as I share with you, as we, just bring up something to discuss in a positive light, kind of like, what this looks like years later because of that foundation that you built at a school like Indiana. And people want you want to share your information and knowledge.
Absolutely. Joey hit us about Gonzaga has 3 NBA lottery picks. They've got the talent, no doubt about that. I don't know that they haven't played the schedule, so it's going to be interesting how it turns out. But we got a lot more coming up. Jim Reamer is going to join us. The Indiana High School basketball tournament is underway. We know how fun that is. Some of the IU recruits had a big weekend, but it's always a fun time. But we'll talk to Jim about that when we come back. Right back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this.
Awesome.
Hey, we all want more, and no one gives you more for less.
Was Travis Steele at Xavier a manager?
He must have been younger. Travis Steele?
Yeah, he was.
Jim.
He was with Coach Sampson at Indiana.
Okay, there we go.
Damn, another one.
He was my assistant for 3 summers.
What is he coach at Xavier?
Oh gosh, yeah, he was at Xavier for a long time. He moved up the ranks each step of the way. He was Mac's associate head coach for 4 years maybe.
Where's Lawrence Frank now, Charlie?
Clippers.
I'm not sure.
I think he's still with the Clippers.
That's where because he was with Doc Rivers. Yeah.
All this talk about an IU coach or an IU guy. It's funny how not one manager's been mentioned. That just occurred to me.
Ron Sanchez at UNC Wilmington or Charlotte. Charlotte.
Oh, at 49ers?
Yeah.
God, I got to get a list compiled. Oh, my God. It's crazy.
He was Tony Bennett's right-hand man for a number of years at Washington State and Virginia.
Were you all on together last week? I can't remember.
Yes, we were.
Okay, I can remember. Make sure.
We talked a little bit about what was coming up for the sectionals. So,
man, a good week. It was a good weekend, huh?
Basketball wise, yeah. Carmel won, so I'm happy. It was fun though because
you have kids there still.
No, I don't have kids at all. No, I bleed blue. I've been here my whole life, so. I mean, I moved around a little bit in my late 20s, but everything was north side of Indy. Then when I finally bought, I just bought in here. Been here ever since. And I bought a condo in 99. I've been here ever since. So
nice.
Anybody down to Evansville way? Anything happen down there?
As far as
the winner, who would win, big winner? Anything?
We're on. No, I think the one thing that it's got IU connection is that Southridge won their regional or their sectional, and their best player and arguably the best player in Southern Indiana or the best player in Southwest Indiana, Colson Montgomery, is going to Indiana for baseball.
Really?
Yeah.
That's funny. We're on ESPN radio in Evansville. Is my ass.
He would have been a borderline high major if he'd focus on and probably still could be if he'd focused on baseball. Or basketball, sorry.
What's his last name?
Montgomery.
Today's guest is brought to you by Reynolds Family Dentistry of Sillersburg. You need $1 million smile for those championship photos, and that's exactly what you'll get with Reynolds Family Dentistry.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios on this Monday, of course, brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda Bloomington, Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer. Joined now by Jim Reamer from Courtside, Indiana. How are you doing, sir?
Doing well. Thanks for having me back on. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, guys. How you doing, Jim?
Doing really well. Thanks.
Awesome, man.
IHSA tournament underway, sectionals in the book. Some great basketball, wins. A lot of the teams we expected to win won. Any big upsets that happened over the weekend?
Oh, I mean, I think we did a sectional review podcast last night that we just published here early this morning. Oddly enough, the biggest surprise was not really, the biggest surprise was Morristown not winning their sectional. That's not really where we go with things here when we talk about some IU stuff. But we thought they were, of the teams that lost, probably had the biggest gap between them and what actually happened. I mean, there's a few surprises, but a lot of them were somewhat predicted. That could definitely happen. If that makes
And
sense.
I know, yeah, and we talked about. You said the best player in the southwest part of the state is actually going to play baseball in Indiana.
Yeah, Colson Montgomery. Yeah,
Crazy.
there's we've, as we go through and we pick our favorites, where we pick the teams we think will win, or we talk about who we think is going to win. You can never discount the teams that have the best player in the tournament.
That's right.
So, especially at that level, and especially at a non-big school level where one guy like that can really tip the scales. And Southridge is a 2A school. If you look at their schedule, only one of their losses would you say was a bad loss, but they did lose 10 games during the year. And a lot of it this year especially could be attributed to different things like injury, COVID, whatever. But Montgomery has had a history of being injured. He missed some games as a junior. He missed a little bit at the beginning of the year this year. But he's fantastic. He's really a borderline high major. Probably would have tipped into it had he continued to work on basketball full time, or at least as a priority. But from what I understand, and I've never seen him, but from what I understand, he's just a tremendous baseball player. And he may even not even end up at IU. I'm not sure where he might get drafted.
Well, and that's the kind of players you want in whatever program you have. It doesn't matter what the sport is. If you've got players like that, you have elite athletes. And so it's a great sign for Indiana baseball. But moving forward on the basketball side, I know that also down in Evansville Central looks like had a buzzer beater that they win, and Evansville Rights when they're sectional.
Central or North beat Central. That's the video that's going viral. And then Wrights came back and won the sectional on Saturday night. But it was a full court shot with 1.9 seconds left, or full court pass, almost like a Christian Leitner type situation.
And he got it but he got it so deep. I remember seeing it in the left corner. I mean, it is a bullet to the left corner, and then he kicks it out to another guy.
Yeah, there
the bounce pass, the perfect bounce pass.
Gets batted out to the guy on the wing, hits the three. Then the best part of the video is when the manager gets creamed at half court amid the celebration. He literally gets hit from two different sides, and he just goes down in a heap. And the kid bounced up quickly. He obviously, having had that happen before, it didn't faze me either. Right. I just bounced right back up and got back to the pile.
Right.
You can overcome a lot of things when you're experiencing adulation. So
exactly.
Yeah, happiness makes you happy, no doubt. Then, of course, bigger games all around. Carmel, big win. Lawrence North, those big games up in the center part of the state. Carmel, of course, the Fighting Larrys, as I call them. What happened in their game?
They played really well. I mean, I'd like to talk a little bit about Braden Smith, but they stymied him that game. They turned him into a scorer, which he can be, but he's at his best when he's creating for others. And Westfield, they have a kid. They have Scott Hafner's son, Cam Hafner, if you remember him, played at Evansville, started out at Illinois, had a big 55-point game at Evansville, and then had a cup of coffee in the NBA, played for the Miami Heat for a bit, and returned to Hamilton County with his sons. And Cam has had a great year. He's the only other, him and Braden Smith, the only two guys they have that can really score. And, Carmel just had too many pieces, just a ton of length that Westfield struggles with their current group of kids. But Braden Smith, to me, is a high major. He's a guy that I would like to see Indiana go after from an Indiana point of view. But just as a whole, I would think that Purdue, Butler, Indiana, Notre Dame, especially if they're in need of a point guard, that Braden Smith's a kid they have to be looking at. He's a complete package, other than the fact that he's maybe a couple inches too short, listed at 6'1". We could argue between 6 feet and 6'1", but he's a plus wingspan. He's super long. His shot's beautiful. He gets it off easily. And his vision is unparalleled, especially in that junior class. There's a senior at Warren Central who I like an awful lot, but Braden Smith's vision is pretty unique for a kid at the high school level.
And then, of course, C.J. Gunn had a great weekend with Lawrence North as they grab a championship as well.
He was fantastic. He was really good Wednesday night when I watched him. I did not see. I turn into a homer this time of year, so whenever Carmel's playing, I'm there. So I didn't get to see them play Friday or Saturday night. But Eric Gardner from Prep Hoops liked his play this week. And, CJ, look, against Cathedral, the game I saw on Wednesday, that was a big battle. Those were two of the top 4 teams in the state. That was the game we all talked about last Monday. He was fantastic and scored pretty much in every way you would want a kid to score, other than he didn't really post anybody up, which is not something he'll do at the college level anyway. But hits a 3 in transition, gets to the rim after, he can ball fake, get to the rim. He can catch a body on his way to, he'll throw down on somebody without any hesitation whatsoever, gets out on the break. And defensively, when he's really engaged, he's super. He does get some times where he's a little bit relaxed off the ball, but that's a function of youth and something that he can change pretty easily.
Question for you, Jim.
Yeah.
Jim Reamer. So question for you, as I, want to ask this question from as a fan. So, I know it's probably also tough to probably answer, but what is CJ going to have to do to continue to keep this type of play, even as a freshman at IU? What do you think he has to do?
Well, it's the old strength,
right?
It's how much stronger can he get? How much weight can he put on his body? He is thin. Mm-hmm. He's not super thin. You don't look at him and think it's impossible by any stretch of imagination, but there's not a lot of natural bulk on him. So the question will be is how quickly does that come? And a lot of times when your body changes like that, injuries can come a little bit more easily.
Well, that's coming next.
Yeah. So
be careful.
So that's where, and sometimes these little injuries, turn into compensation issues, lead to other injuries. So you just got to be really careful. He's got to be able to, like right now, if you're on his hip, he's still got you beat.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, that's at the high school level. So if that's part of his game, that he's going to have to be able to endure those juniors and seniors that are 2 or 3 years stronger than he is.
Yeah,
and be able to finish that if he's going to do as a freshman what he's doing now. I think he would come in and be more productive than what this current crop of freshmen have been able to do. But really that's because, I think he would play a lot like Galloway.
Personnel.
Just with a better jump shot.
Understood.
And then now we move forward. Regionals coming up. What are the great matchups this weekend?
Well, it starts with Homestead Carmel, number 1, number 2. Homestead's undefeated. Carmel's only 2 losses. One was to Cathedral, who Homestead beat in over. So all these games really were overtime games, except for what Carmel did to Lawrence North. Homestead, Carmel, Cathedral have now, after this week, will have now played each other once. So like a little round robin. Homestead currently is 2-0. Carmel is 1-1. Lawrence North lost to both Carmel and Homestead. They're still alive. Cathedral beat Carmel, lost to Lawrence North in the sectional. That was their one matchup. So this sort of creates the circle or the pool play or whatever you want to do, whatever you want to call it. And of course, the loser goes home in this case, just like Lawrence North Cathedral. So that is by far the most anticipated game from an outsider perspective. Obviously the fans of the other schools will have some to say about that, but Bloomington South's looking pretty good in their regional. Although Center Grove will probably be a little tougher than what their record looks. Going down the list here of any huge matchups, that Washington regional with Heritage Hills, Silver Creek, Sullivan, and Connorsville, pretty much everybody that was expected to win their sectional did. Although Greensburg, Connorsville would have been a push. Looking down here, I don't know how the Lagodi sectional is probably tougher than the Lagodi regional. That's where Bar Reeve is.
Well, I know that Floyd Central and New Albany both lost over the weekend, my alma mater, and I was shocked to see New Albany lose to Bedford. North Lawrence knocked them out. Man, I couldn't believe that.
That was a surprise. Yeah, that was definitely a surprise.
But yeah, it goes forward and looking forward to it. And we'll look forward to doing this again next week because it's going to be a more exciting basketball. And then they have the week off after semi-states, which will be kind of weird for them. But looking forward to it as the Big Ten tournament starts this week as well. And there's just going to be so much basketball going on in Indianapolis, Jim.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I look forward to it. The NCAA stuff I'll watch at home. I'm not really I don't cover college, so I'm not going to get any credentials, and not really in the mix for getting the tickets though. So, but I spend enough time.
Unfortunately, I won't be credentialed for the NCAA tournament this year either. Unfortunately,
really,
the team I cover is not going to be in the tournament.
That's valid.
And this year it's like 5 credentials per team that is in the tournament. It's rough. It's a rough. Yeah, it's weird, really weird. But at least you can get it, I guess, through the IHSA because that's the closest you're going to get, I guess.
Well, it's good. I mean, Southport. Look, it's now. I would recommend to anybody that's interested in going who don't have children on the team to make sure they follow their team's Twitter account, because what's going to happen is they're going to post links for ticket sales, and it's all digital. So if you've not gone to a game yet this year, it's all digital. You're not buying tickets at the gate. Now you can, but you're going to end up buying a digital ticket. So just make sure you have that stuff. You have your credit card ready to go, and make sure you're following that school's social media because they will post a link for ticket sales if they don't sell out to their families and their regular fans. So most of these places now are at 25% capacity or greater. North Davies was packed last week. I'm sure that will cause some issues outside of basketball, but most of these venues are 25% or greater, so some casual fans are going to be able to get in if they're just paying attention. So
yep, well, we look forward to doing it again next week, man, and see what has transpired because it'll be exciting.
Yeah, it's a great time of year, especially for me. So
we appreciate it, and we'll do it again next week, man.
Good. Thanks, Jim. Thanks. Good to talk to you, Charlie.
Jim, I appreciate it, brother.
All right, bye-bye.
Hey, we're back. We're back with more to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios right after this on this Monday.
Hey, we all want more, and no one gives you more.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, that's it for this week.
Yeah, there's a IU Board of Trustees meeting today that I don't know was scheduled. So
yeah, I heard. I've seen that. I shouldn't say heard, but I've seen that. Yeah.
Was that previously scheduled? Because somebody started telling me about this yesterday, and I'm like, do you know for a fact? And I'm like, is this scheduled? I'm like trying to find all this crap out. I'm like, shit. And now it's all hitting right now. I'm like, damn it, I can't get there because it's open. And I'm like, God, I can't get there in time. It's at 11 a.m.
Can't Alec go?
He's not close enough right now.
Oh. And I wouldn't be able to get there by 11, so.
Well, it's right. I'm in Bloomington, but today's the all days. I dropped my car off last night to have work done on it, and they just called me. They don't have the part, so I don't have my car fixed, and I can't get to the damn meeting. So I'm like, shit.
Uber.
Brother, I live 20 minutes outside of town, out in the woods.
Oh, okay.
It is definitely out here, man.
They have is actually posted on the website, the IU Trustees website about the meeting.
Yeah, but so I don't know
if it was
which
when
website
that was scheduled.
Which website, Charlie?
trustees.iu.edu.
Oh, so it's probably regularly scheduled.
So I wonder if it is regularly scheduled because it's actually posted, given that April 8th, 9th is the virtual meeting. So
I've been of the mindset
yesterday.
Yeah, I've been in the mindset you don't get rid of a coach in 4 years without a mitigating circumstance. I think losing out at the end of the year is probably enough of a mitigating circumstance. I
just don't know that they have the guy. That's the thing.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have the guy, and you can't do it if you don't have the guy.
But can they
get
the
know.
guy?
That's another thing, and I don't know that. Well,
the coaching change is more than just a firing; it's also a hiring, and
yeah, that's what I've been telling people. You have to know you can get the guy, or you're screwed.
And everybody names the big names.
Oh, of course. Brad Stevens, yada, yada.
Yeah. Well, they're not getting Stevens if they fire Miller now, this week, or, because people are acting like what's going to happen this week or not at all. Because he's not going to entertain it while the Celtics is still going on.
That's another thing I keep telling people. They keep saying, they've reached out to coaches. And I'm like, no, they haven't. You can't do that during the season.
That is out of this world. World-class golfing.
Did you need me to stay, or were you done with me?
Waiting for you on your next visit to
We can
French
go this week just because we're probably just going to wrap up with Charlie and get out of here.
Okay.
But we'll be staying longer next week for sure.
That'll be fine. Either way, let me know. All right. See you guys.
Thank you.
Where the fruit is sweet as can be. I wanna be.
Welcome back to the Golf Club at Eagle Point Studios here on this Monday, brought to you by the great folks at Andy Moore Honda of Bloomington. Bloomington's #1 Honda dealer, of course. You know that. IU, let's see, some football news there. IU offers dual quarterback threat Pierce Clarkson from California. Yeah, their Indiana football they're pimping out now, Charlie. They just roll back and throw out some offers and say, yep. And it's not like it used to be where, people would get an IU offer like, yeah, who's that? Yeah, I don't think so. Now it's like,
just
man.
Keep this in mind, everyone who's watching. It's not necessarily recruiting. It's winning ways. Winning ways attract. And right now, ELO is winning out throughout the country.
That's right. Elio,
right? It's Elio. Everybody, yeah. It's I call it Elo, right? So Elio, but love each other, right? So his winning ways is very attractive. And now also you're attracting next up coaches, right? Coaches that are leaving different programs. You got players. You're becoming a hotbed of talent, right? And talent that's produced, I feel, attract winning ways as well.
Without question. There's a board of trustees meeting scheduled today for Indiana, executive meeting. And I don't know if that was a previously scheduled meeting. And if it was, who cares? It's previously scheduled meeting. If it wasn't, it's something of note. But I'm trying to find out if that was previously scheduled or not. Is it something they have every month? That I think that's a telltale right there. Is it every month they have it, or was it just something that just kind of came about? Unfortunately, I can't get there in time because of all days. It starts right when we finish the show, but I would have cut the show short just to go to that meeting. I hear that. But this of all days, I've dropped my vehicle off to get some work done on it. And of course, they called me while we're doing the show. Hey, the part didn't come in. So now I don't have my car. It's not getting fixed, and I can't get to the daggone meeting. So that stinks. But you're still doing something kind for people because they still got us on the show, man. So it's I just can't get to. Yeah, I just would like to be able to get to that, but just to see what that's about. But that'll be curious. So that is true. I'm seeing this right now, a breaking that Tom Allen is getting a gigantic pay bump from $3.9 million to $4.9 million. Congratulations to Tom Allen. It's winning ways. Winning ways attract, and you somebody just said that results, and that's exactly now. Again, that up right there, that's significant also for attracting players, other coaches. I mean, you're putting yourself in a really, really good situation. So congratulations, Coach Tom Allen. Heck yeah. And congratulations to Indiana because they're no dummy. They're like, and he just got a new contract less than a year ago. And I mean, I'm gonna just share from just a former player's perspective, right? I feel that a lot of coaches are in position, and it's just me, just my take. You're in position to always look to get an upward mobility, right? I mean, you want to help a team produce to get better, put them in position, and if a better opportunity comes along the way, you have to entertain it. And I don't say you have to, but so I think that was very smart to
promote him, give him another raise to keep him. I mean, it is what it is. And you're a very hot name right now, so you got to do everything you can to keep people.
Absolutely. The official announcement, Indiana University youth football coach Tom Allen agreed to an amendment to his current 7-year contract that will increase his annual average compensation to $4.9 million through the 2027 season. So locking him down. I don't think he wants to go anywhere. He wants to build this up.
That's good. He has
Tom Allen. That's right. Tom Allen has proven himself to be not only the right person for our student athletes and our program, but one of the best football coaches in the country, said IUVest President and Director of Athletics Scott Dolson. Absolutely. Great to see that. Great to see that, hey, they're like, we got to keep him locked down. And right. They do. And that gets him up to where this is and not about the money, but 4 to 5 years ago, he was making maybe $400,000 a year, I think.
Well, I mean,
and he's gone for that period of time.
10 times as much. Why? Winning ways.
That's right. Winning culture.
You built the culture. Culture brings identity. Identity brings philosophy. We all have a oneness mentality. You all do things for one for all for one, right? And all of a sudden, it shows up in your season. But that culture was built. As soon as he hit the ground running, So and again, players have to play. Coaches coach. Players play. And I think putting people in position to shine and play as players and promote them, that's amazing. That's awesome news. Great news.
Yeah, it's great to see Indiana they know that the where football is, and you've got to keep the momentum rolling. You cannot allow blocks like they have, and I'll be honest with you, like they have in basketball with bad hires. They've allowed some things to stop the momentum, to stop the even though it could be a different culture, as long as it's a good culture, it's been broken. Those chains have been broken too many times, and to restart that is hard, and that's something they're going to have to do. But it's something Tom Allen had to do. There was no culture when he got here.
That's right.
And he created his own, and he did.
That's right.
It's a good one. So
it's buy-in, man. I mean, again, as much as you got to keep this in mind too, Jim. And for me, you get a lot of players. These players are known throughout the country. That's why I say social media. I mean, you might be a top 80, a top 200 player. You're known. You have a following. So to get buy-in in this climate, to me, is crucial, where there is, again, a unity. It's a unified front on how you're going to play. And that's all sports for me now, because, again, things are just more exposed. But especially in football, there's so many moving pieces. So again, so happy because I have a lot of friends that played at IU back when I was in college. And, I know they're very happy as I get on the text string with those guys, and they're talking about the games and, IU going to a bowl game and, how they're playing against top teams, so it's great to see. It's great to see, and it's great to be a part of.
Absolutely, and it's great to see that the continuity is going to continue on that side. That it's going to be fun, excitement. That is never really happened here. I know that because I was in school during the Bill Mallory era, and there was some good times then. But this is a different level, and it's about to go even higher. So, man, even though I'm not here as a student or fan or whatever, I'm looking forward to it because it's a fun environment. Covering a winning team is fun. I mean, that's why these basketball games are not fun because there's no people there. The fake sound, it's not the same. But that excitement, it's just so looking forward to what's coming up next year.
Yeah.
Where are we, Trevor? In time wise, these Mondays screw me up because we're off. This is the one day our time breaks are different because we start earlier with Don, and I never know where we are on this. But where are we on this, Trevor? We good? Let's see. He just sent me a text. Still got 2 minutes to go. Perfect. But yeah. So coming up, what do you have coming up next, Charlie?
Spring break is coming up here. So I mean, So for me, it's kind of like, again, with players that are in town, just working them out and just kind of getting everybody kind of off their seasons, kind of reevaluating what they did during the season, what they want to get better at. So just kind of planting seeds, getting ready for spring, summer. And also to share, I'm getting my marriage, my vows renewed next month. So I'm super excited about that.
You married the same woman?
No, yeah, marriage vow. Yeah, that's a good one, man. We're getting renewed, man. So 10-year anniversary. So looking for a rededication, man. So
no, congratulations. Seriously,
I appreciate
congratulations on that. Absolutely. But looking forward to that. How is with COVID loosening up? I know Texas is loose because the NIT. That's why the NIT was moved there.
Loose is not the word. Loose. The cap is off, right? The cap is off, right? And because again, the governor, said, hey, small business open, so. But I think it's been a wean. I haven't really seen much. It's interesting because you're so used to putting on a mask going places. Some stores have taken down the signs. That might be a little more progressive, and some still have signs up. So, you just never know.
Yeah, looking to see how the NIT is going to work down there,
right.
But that's going to be a different thing. But lots of things going on. Like I said, people are getting out and about more, so happy to see that. And, man, I can't wait to get on it. So I think we're time to go here today off the radio hour, so we're looking forward to that. Thanks a lot to Don Fischer, of course, and to Jim Reamer as well. And always got to thank my man, Charlie Miller. Charlie,
thank you.
We'll hit a little overtime period in a second here, but the rest of you guys on the radio side, we appreciate you. Hope you go out and have yourselves a nice day. Don't forget to wear your mask. And until tomorrow, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio. Oh, man. All right. There's not a lot to get to, but I would like to know about that daggone meeting, and I'm going to have to start finding out about that. But the timing on the Tom Allen thing, kind of weird. All this talk about, Archie Miller, what are they going to do? I mean, there's no doubt that he's got to leave at some point, but is that going to be this year, next year? Why do you, if you're leaving, if you're going to do it, why wait? There's so many ins and outs because I've talked about getting the guy. You got to know that you have the guy that you want, and it may not be this year. There's just so many things that play into it. But man, that timing, that's a little odd.
Well, I think if you look at it, right, and it always sticks out, Jim. I feel when you may not, we're not winning on the basketball side. You can be, it can come off, I think, as being suspicious, but I think the timing on the flip side is a positive as far as the football world, college world, to solidify and stand out. Hey, we found our guy. We found what we were looking for, and we want to make it known, right? We want to make it public known. So I can see that. I can see the timing behind that. Again, if it was a mystery on, was this an impromptu meeting? But now all of a sudden, what comes out of it? So it's hard to say that there's something pressing coming about the basketball team now that you've announced again what you're doing with the head coach of the football team. So I see where you're going with that, but I just feel that was really good for them to do that. For Coach Tom Allen.
Absolutely. I mean, he is just the greatest ambassador for the school as a coach. I mean, the advertising he's given this school, I promise you, it exceeds the $4.9 million. The advertising alone he gave that university last football season,
right,
with all the positive things, all
That's
the
right.
people that were having him on their shows.
Yeah. I mean, and again, it goes beyond. It's one thing when you're saying the right thing. It's another thing when you are backing it up. And again, you have all those players buying into the process, and you're winning. You're beating schools traditionally that you have not beaten consistently over 15 plus 20 years. So that stands out a lot. And then again, are now on the national stage. And again, the positive talk. I mean, every time I saw the guy, people will send me things about Coach Tom Allen, so it's amazing. I mean, so it's really good. You're not only talking the talk, you're walking the walk, right? You're backing your words up by the action. So it's really good to see.
Absolutely. And to know that that's going to be what fans can expect to see. And there's no reason to think that it's not, because this is kind of just the beginning. And
that's right.
Wow. And just he's making the right moves. He's learning. He's open-minded. He's learned from a lot of mistakes. He's made mistakes, but he's learned from them. Look at the coaching staff he's able to put together. You just love to see what he's doing, and look so forward to that, because that's the hardest thing in the world, is to turn around a D1 football program. I'm like, wow.
But think about this too, because I just look at sometimes as a head coach, and again, just my perspective. A lot of times you're managing, but you're really managing the other coaches, because you have a lot of football players that you have to have strong, almost head coach like mentalities in the assistant coaches, the running back coach, the cornerback coach, the linebacker coach. I mean, to me, that's who you are coaching. You have to have full bore trust, and those coaches have to have responsibility as well at helping those players direct, because they're going to interact with the linebacker coach, the defensive back coach, more than probably Coach Tom Allen. So again, a lot of moving pieces, but it's always great to see you found the formula in the system to be consistent.
Yeah, now we got to get that back to the basketball side, of course. I know it's all questions, and people can talk. We don't know what they're going to do, like this meeting. There's questions to be answered. I don't know if this meeting was regularly scheduled. I've been wondering or not. I've been hearing about this meeting coming up, but I didn't know that it was on there. So we're going to have to find out about that. And there's no point of speculating. There's people speculating about coaches. Man, to speculate on a specific coach right now is almost futile. Because there's so much that goes in to both sides. It's not just, someone said it earlier, it's not just getting rid of, you have to get. And one is just as hard as the other, because if there's buyouts on this side, there's buyouts on that side.
Hey, I always tell people this, think about it like almost a job. There's a cost to hire and there's a cost to fire, right? And there's a cost associated with. So, so you gotta understand this is not an easy process, and I'm more than certain Scott, as the AD, wants to do the best thing for the program, right? You want to do what's right for the program, but you also have to be behind your coach. I mean, as tough as it may be for fans, I totally understand it, but you want to make sure you're doing the right thing for the program, because prospectively speaking, you got other coaches looking at the situation. Why would they want to put themselves in a situation where something can be abruptly terminated just cause? So you just can't look at that side of, okay, it's easy just to hire and fire. No, people are looking at, hey, what happened? What really happened? What's really the deal here? So it's more than just a hire and fire process. And you hoping, again, for me, optimism wise, I want to see Archie win. I want to see Archie, rile the troops up and do something to defy the odds, so I'm supportive.
And I can promise you one thing, when I'm talking about this meeting, again, this could have been a regularly scheduled meeting. It's on the website itinerary thing. So I don't know how long it's been on there. And even if it wasn't, I promise you, it's not about firing Archie Miller today.
No,
that is not going to happen, people. And that is, I don't know how you inferred that from that, but that is not the question here, and not at all. I'd see. Not what I meant to put up there, but that's not happening. That's not what anybody is saying. I'm just saying there is a meeting, and I don't even know if it may have been already scheduled. They have those things, it's not like it doesn't happen. But it does. If it wasn't, it would surprise me that they did it right before the conference tournament. So that's why I'm thinking this must have been scheduled, maybe. But
Yeah.
I'll find out as soon as it's over.
There you go.
We will. But that's the thing. All of this, coaching, whatever, just have to wait. That's the problem we all have. Is everybody, we all want it now. Of course, we'd all like to know, but you will know. We will all know when we know. So knowing sooner doesn't really change anything. It doesn't change the outcome of anything. So I don't get all worried and worked up about that stuff. I can't control it.
That's
I'll
right.
find out when I find out. Now I'd like to know because I'm a reporter and that's what I do.
That's exactly
but
right. I mean, that's
other than
that's
that,
exactly. Yeah.
Other than that, I'm like, I don't.
Yeah.
It's not like it doesn't keep me up at night. I promise you.
Right.
And same with Charlie and other people like that. I mean, they're curious, but it's that. It's it. It's just a curiosity.
Yeah.
So just let it play out, man. Just got to let it play out.
Yeah. And again, like I said, for me, I wish the best because again, I mean, I just wish the best for the organization. The IU basketball team as a whole. I just wish the best because you never want to see that. You never want to see anybody fired. I totally understand things happen. And I think that's why we sign up for things of this nature at a high level. But I just wish the best for Coach and everybody else. So we can be patient in this situation.
Absolutely, man. We'll find out all that info and get it out there. But we'll be back tomorrow regardless with Kevin Brockway, of course, Mike DeCourcy, Chronic Hoosier. So we get to do it all again, and hopefully we'll have that information by then. So there you go, Charlie. And Charlie, I hope you go out and have a great day. Enjoy a beautiful day with your wife who you're getting ready to renew those vows with. That is awesome. Congratulations again. Congratulations to everything you do, man. It's great to see. Appreciate having great people like you on.
For having me, man. And I this is joyful. It's cool to be back. Kind of tied up with someone back in Indiana, at least sharing and I love the comments and hopefully they keep coming and I appreciate it.
We love you guys, man. Thank you so much, and thank you to you folks, man. Without you, you're it, man. You're the whole reason we're here for. So thank you guys too, and we'll be back to do it again tomorrow. So go out, have a great day, wear your mask, do something nice for somebody. Until then, I'm Jim Coyle. I will see you on the radio.
All right, appreciate.